everyone. Zoom questions for Coach. Start with John Corrales.
Hey, Ime, let's just, I guess, start with the health situation. How many guys did you get back?
Quite a few. Ennis is back. Jayson as well. Still waiting on some negatives from Aaron. Jabari had some dental work done today, so he was out, and we'll see his status for tomorrow. But just good in general to have some bodies back in the building and get another practice under our belt. So looking forward to that. Anybody else? I mean, I'm pretty sure that's it.
Chris Ryan.
Hey, Ime, hope all is well with you. With Jayson coming back now and the way that Jalen has played over the last couple of games, how do you anticipate? Do you anticipate doing anything differently with them from an offensive flow perspective? And what have you noticed about playing inside out with Rob and Al over the last couple of games?
Well, Jayson, obviously that takes some responsibility off of other guys. I think it's obviously an added benefit to have him and Jalen out there together. They haven't had a ton of time this year due to injuries and COVID for both guys. So that'll be a benefit for the team overall, get back to some normal rotations and try to save some minutes and not overload guys. But, that's the progression of the year is those guys learn to play together, making plays for each other, and then having another focal point on the court at all times so teams can't load up against one of the other guys. Regarding the other piece you talked about, I think we found some good things with off-ball movement. We kind of know what we get out of those guys with isolations and pick and rolls and some of those sets that we have, but we want to utilize our bigs and their passing abilities to, whether it's out of the post or the high post. I think they can really initiate the offense well. We saw it against Phoenix and want to add that to our repertoire and have it be a piece of our offense, not just, isolation, pick and roll, some of the other things they do. I think that's an added benefit and it'll make us much more difficult to defend.
Abby Chin.
Hi, Ime. I have a few. So then how is Rob's toe? Was he good to go today?
Yeah, he did everything in practice today.
Now that you've had some time, I know in San Antonio, it was a little overwhelming with everything going on, but facing off against Pop again, what did you take from the first experience and just that relationship between you two now that you're both head coaches? How has it changed?
Honestly, it was another game there. I didn't look down the sideline and think anything different than any other game against another coach. Obviously, we got the chance to talk before and after, got dinner with them after the game. What we want to do better in general is get off to a better start. Obviously, we got pretty far behind the first and second quarter and battled our way back and got a late lead. So just start the game better. They got some guys that they're missing now and might be getting some guys back. So we're preparing for a few different things. And, our relationship is obviously goes way, way, way back. And it's always good to catch up with them and get a chance to play against them. It's an honor. It's something, I did think about at some point in my career as his assistant was I'd like to get to be a head coach and get to coach against him one day. And so we done that and it's kind of behind us, but I think we're very similar as far as that. It's, he has 10 guys in the league that he's playing against every other night. So it's nothing new to him. But for me, at some point you think about it, I think probably in the future, you look back and realize our relationship and getting the chance to coach against him and the honor it was.
Mark Murphy.
Hi, Ime. You've talked from time to time about how little you've actually had that starting group together. You're going to have it again. How much more can you get out of that group? How much does that group have to actually develop some chemistry?
Yeah, they do. Due to lack of minutes, I think, we've been through the situation all year, but the numbers and the eye test, you kind of see what we can be. And we've been pretty good with the starting group, although it's been low minutes overall. And so just to get the full complement of players back, it kind of sets everybody else in rotations. And since some of the roles, you're asking guys to do more at times and shoulder the load as far as minutes and being out in certain situations. So it just gives us full complement of guys, multiple areas where it'll help us improve defensively for sure. I think we've been really good with our starting lineup, and then we can settle down into roles and minutes a little bit better. So it's a start tomorrow, and hopefully it continues forward. Obviously, injuries and COVID have been a problem all year, and we're looking forward to getting the full group back together.
Sherrod Blakely.
Hey, Coach. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. I wanted to ask you a little bit about and you touched on this a little bit earlier about ball movement. It seems that Rob is kind of coming into his own as far as being a ball mover at half-court sets, but you've got some really good guys getting out in transition like Jalen and Jayson. How do you find that a happy medium between those two different worlds, the offensive sets in the half-court game and that transition game that I know obviously you guys want to get out and get easy points that way too?
Yeah, we think we can really take a step as far as those two areas in our offensive growth this year. We traditionally haven't been great in transition. I think we have opportunities to get there. Obviously, being one of the top defensive teams would help that, getting stops and getting out and running. But we've been a little careless and sloppy at times in transition. Turnovers have kind of plagued us, taking away some easy opportunities. And so we want to tighten up that area and just be better overall in transition, let alone the opportunities. As far as the ball movement, I think it's, we talk about pace, playing faster, but it's in the half court as well. And it's not just Rob and Al and some of the bigs that are passing, it's everybody else around them. We need to have pace and variety, as I talked about against Phoenix, and we're continuing to harp on that. It's good to get another practice in today and work on some of those things with added bodies coming back. And so it'll only help us overall as an offensive unit to get better in that area. And so a lot has to do with their passing ability, but a lot has to do with the guys off the ball as well, reading and reacting to how the defense is playing and playing with the pace and variety, as I mentioned.
Go back to Abby.
Ime, with Jayson coming back, last time he came back from COVID, he struggled for a few months, used an inhaler and things like that. Do you know if that's going to be an issue this time? And will there be plans to kind of roll him back in with a minutes limit and things like that?
Yeah, I don't know if he had the same severity of symptoms as last time. It doesn't sound like it, so hopefully that won't bother him to the same extent. As far as the minutes, he's played quite a few this year, higher than we'd like at times, and I think we can settle him back into a rotation, not only coming out of COVID, but also with the bodies that we have back and the full complement of players. We don't have to have him play as long as stretches or as many minutes in general. So he's had a few practice sessions in. Last game he was cleared to play out of COVID protocol, but wanted to get the reconditioning in. So he's had 2-3 extra sessions, and I think he's looking good out here with what he's doing so far. And he's the type of guy that wants to come back and get right back into his role and not be limited. Yeah, it's something he's stressed that he doesn't love is the minute restrictions or anything like that. And as long as his conditioning and wind is fine, he can get right back to playing at the level he was.
Jared Weiss.
Now that we're getting close to the halfway point of the year, with all the, roster turnover you've had lately, have you seen anyone that's established maybe like new capabilities or just roles that they could take on over the second half of the season in the offense? And do you see like more areas to add in more variety and complexity to the offense?
Yeah, I would say it's tough to pinpoint any specifics with the lack of continuity, lack of guys being in specific roles. So credit to guys like Dennis and Jalen and Jayson at times who have had to do a lot more than we initially thought they would with guys being out. And so you see guys in different roles. Then you have Marcus and Dennis missing games and young guys like Peyton step up into those roles. So it's hard to pinpoint one thing. Obviously guys have been consistent in certain areas and we've been inconsistent overall as a team and due to a lot of those reasons. So the variety part, I think just having the full complement back, we were getting into a groove of guys kind of having a package, some play calls for certain guys and mixing that up, keeping teams off balance obviously helps with all the options out there.
The final question, Coach, is from Bobby Manning.
Hey, you may get 2 quick ones here. On Rob, I know you've talked a little bit more about more using his passing more. How do you kind of put him in positions where he has the ball a little bit more, only catching about, I think, 18 passes a game, just a few pick and rolls for him a game, doesn't have the ball in his hands a ton. how do you try to take advantage of his passing a little bit more? And then in terms of the young guys on the roster, I know you want to start look at mixing in some of them who are playing in a little bit more. Throughout your career, I know you've had a lot of veteran teams, a lot of teams that have won. What's the key to sort of those guys developing and progressing as players if they're not playing a ton, like I'm sure many of the young players in your career that you've looked at have?
Regarding Rob, I think just putting him in different positions. At times Al is an asset out there as a passer as well, so we're kind of mixing it between those two guys. But we have specific sets to get those guys the ball and then get the ball moving off of them. So he's going to do what he does in his pick and rolls, and that's a big piece of what we do. But as you saw lately, we want to get more toward some movement off ball, and I think we can really be good at that as we improve throughout the year. So putting them in those positions, obviously there's ATOs you can draw up to get those looks as well, where he's getting touches out of the mid post or the elbow, and they're getting our split game going there. And as far as the young guys, I mean, it's something that we really stress in here, and I talked about that quite a bit with Peyton and Romeo and guys in general, being ready for the opportunity. And you've seen that for the most part this year. Overall, our confidence level is high in all those guys. They've stepped up throughout the year when called upon, and overall, I've mentioned it several times, it's a minute thing. Dennis has played extremely well at times, so it's not a lack of anything we feel about Peyton. It's Dennis has played and closed games a lot with the starting unit, and so Peyton is going to be a number crunch there. But when he's been called upon, obviously you've seen him in the last week or so. He's been great, and he's a guy we're confident in being ready. And Romeo the same way. Josh has played really well at times and kind of pushed, taking away some of those minutes from Romeo and Aaron that they may have had. And there's only so many to go around. You got Jayson and Jalen obviously going to close games, be out there a majority of the time. And then depending on who's playing well, whether it's Josh, Grant, whoever, we don't really look at it as young versus veteran. It's who's playing the best. And from my point of view so far, Josh has been really solid. Dennis has been really solid. So it's taken some of those minutes away. But when called upon, those guys are ready, and we're very confident in them.
We'll wrap it up right there. Thank you for your time, Coach.
Thank you.